Hello again. This is another in a series of videos brought to you by San Diego Defenders. I'm attorney Jon Pettis, and the purpose of this video is to give you a little bit of insight, perhaps some suggestions as to what or what not to do if you come into contact with the police. Today's topic is what not to say if you've been pulled over for a DUI. And all of today's comments are culled from 16 years of experience dealing with actual clients and what they said to the police. Number 1, officer, could you hurry this up? I'm in a rush to get to the next bar before closing time. Now, in this particular case, there were 3 problems with that. 1, it was already past closing time. 2, my client was going in the wrong direction. And 3, his car was on its roof, having been involved in a rollover accident. Number 2, officer, I don't think you should be arresting me. I've driven home way drunker than this many times and not had any problems. Number 3, officer, I couldn't do these tests sober. Now, while that might seem like a reasonable explanation for why you didn't want to do field sobriety tests, it is a tacit admission that you aren't sober. Number 4, officer, do you know who I am? Now, that could conceivably work if you're a person of power or prestige, but in this particular case, my client thought the fact that she was president of her local PTA meant that she should get some special treatment from the officer who was arresting her for DUI. Number 5, why aren't you out catching the real criminals? In this case, the officer, after being asked this, actually promised my client that if a call came over the radio about a bank robbery, he'd let my client go and catch the bank robber instead. Number 6, if you think you're going to get a blood sample from me, you're going to need a hell of a lot more police officers to hold me down. In this particular case, when all was said and done, my client left the police station with quite a few bruises and bumps. Number 7, officer, how do you expect me to keep track of how many drinks I've had when I'm this drunk? Number 8, officer, the accident wasn't my fault. It was the parked car's fault. In this particular case, my client had come upon a semi-trailer truck parked alongside of the road, had veered into it, and had actually shorn off the right side of her car. Number 9, officer, honestly, I only had a very little bit to drink. It's the methamphetamine that I use that's really messing me up now. And lastly, officer, before we go, could you just let me have a sip of that beer in the back seat? I am really thirsty. Good luck if you're ever in contact with the police, and try and keep these things in mind. Thanks.